G'day guys, Ali from West Bay, long overdue video. This is one that we're constantly getting asked about. These little control pros, whether it's 250 or a 350, whether it's out of a paint shop or out of a hardware store. I'm going to show you what to check when these things stop working. So there's two valves. One is the inlet valve, which hooks up to your suction tube. This is already removed. One is the inlet valve, outlet valve, which is just behind here. So I'm going to go through both of them and show you how to do it. First thing we do is remove the spray hose. A little bit tight. There we go. So we'll do it from the gauge back. My hands are a little dirty from flushing this machine out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go to the outlet valve first and foremost. There's a little grub screw down the bottom, 2.5mm Allen key, and that should just loosen up. That'll take this off, or at least loosen it up enough that I can get straight to the nipple. The nipple should be a 5/8, and there we go. So the reason I had to loosen up the grub screw is because the grub screw locks in to the actual valve. Alright, so this is our outlet valve. You'll know your outlet valve is faulty when you pull your trigger and the pressure drops very quickly and it takes a long time to come up, or it doesn't come back up at all. Now on this outlet valve, it's fixed, you can't actually remove or disassemble it, but what we're looking for, this is the seat, and inside there's a ball and a spring underneath it. So what we're looking for is to feel the spring returning and the ball to be seating. So this one's good. This is almost always the only fault that these machines have. It's almost always this. It's a replacement valve. They're not expensive. So I'll put this one back in. And tighten it up. I just hand tighten everything. I don't need to over tighten or use any power tools. Yes, I do have a ratchet end on this. I just didn't realise it was the ratchet spanner until I put it on until I started twisting it. Alright, I'll lock this grub screw back in. And while this is upside down, this is our inlet valve. So in here is our ball and our seat that lets the paint come in and stops it from releasing. So I've got two straight edges here, so I can use a shifter, or I can use an Allen key straight through the middle. I might just use a shifter for this one. Unless the Allen key, no, I've got the Allen key here, I can do that. Not too small. There we go, so this Allen key is a 3/8. Just undo this now. Now I'm going to be careful when I undo this because I don't want to lose any parts. I'm just going to keep my hand underneath and catch anything that drops. And that's basically the whole of the inlet valve, minus a little spring which is still inside. I'll grab that. Okay, so that's your whole inlet valve, a little spring, the ball, and that's your seat. It's a porcelain seat. So it just goes back in that order, exactly as you see it there. Make sure the seat's clean. I'll make sure the ball's not indented. Now the easy way to do it is to turn the machine upright, the easier way, and hope that that spring doesn't move around on you as you're trying to insert it. But if it does want to move around, easy solution, I'll show it to you. Just grab the bit. Just a drop of grease or a drop of Vaseline on the ball, and it'll work like glue almost. And there's our spring, and that'll just stop it from moving around. Stick it back on the ball, on the seat, and screw it up. Line it up. A better vantage point from down here. Just going to hand turn it before I go to any tools. From here, I'll torque that up a little bit. Now, while it's in that position, I'm actually going to test it. So I'm just going to put my just something that I can point up to the ball and just feel that the spring's returning. Yep, and that's working just fine. There is a quick test to know that this is working properly, and I'll show that to you. So I'll put the suction and return hoses back on. Actually, I'll leave the suction off for a second. I'll put the return hose back on. Lock that in place. I'm going to put this in the prime position, not in the spray position. I'm going to block off the spray hose, and I'm going to blow into this tube. Now, if I've got air pushing through here, that means that ball and seat aren't seating properly. If I don't, then it's working fine. And that's perfect, there's no seepage there. Put our suction tube back on. Put the clip on so it doesn't suck in any air. Gun, hose and gun again, and we should be good to go. So that's the Control Pros, 200s, 350s and whatever other models they come in. So it's just a matter of reaching the outlet valve, which is almost always a problem, and the inlet valve, and that's pretty much it. The only time you don't bother with these is if you can see paint building up around here, which means the piston and the packings have already worn. Ali from Westbury, see you on the next one.